Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guests today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Welcome back into some more bite-sized business advice. And today's episode is not so bite-sized. We're talking about massive growth momentum in 45 days. That's crazy. That's a tall order, but I happen to know our guest and I know he can deliver on that promise. And I'm very excited to unpack this episode. So we're going to teach you how to grow your business in 45 days in less than 20 minutes. Wow, I love it. Steve Preto, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Brandon, awesome to be here. And yes, it's going to be a big bite. It's like an elephantine bite, right?
That's right. We'll tear it apart together, right? Well, I'm excited for you to be here. I'm going to be a guest on your show, depending on when everything is released. If that's already out, we'll put it in the show notes down below. But otherwise, definitely go check out Steve's podcast as well. But let's start unpacking this massive growth momentum in 45 days. Let's just clear the air. We are probably not going to talk about another scammy guru marketing expert, are we? Can you give us a sense of where this massive growth is going to come from?
Yes. So massive growth momentum is really it's the momentum. So what I don't think it's possible to get your double your revenues in 45 days. That would be a scammy thing. But I think what you can do, and every entrepreneur can do, is to organize themselves so that they are executing and creating the momentum that is going to deliver the growth for them in the subsequent 6 to 12 months. And what I have experienced is that when businesses execute this process, this 45-day process, and then they keep on executing, then they can grow their business, the value of their business by 50% in 12 months. And they can 5x their business in 5 years.
Yeah, that's amazing. And those sound like those even sound like big numbers, and they sound like scammy numbers, but they're not, because of the key word that you said, which was execution. I think that's where a lot of people kind of get off track, is the shiny object syndrome, and they keep changing things and changing, and they want to chase these shiny objects. They don't actually continue to execute. So before we kind of dive in, I'm curious, where does this system come from? Because I'm sure you've seen a number of other things that have worked, have not worked, and I'm just curious the background of how you developed the system.
Yeah, so I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, and this whole revolution of business operating systems comes since 1986, when Michael Gerber wrote the E-Myth, and then the E-Myth Revisited, and he basically explained this concept that you have to work on your business, and you have to create a machine that essentially allows you to build value and create growth. And then there were others, the Vern Harnish and Jack Stack and Gino Wickman and Patrick Lencioni, and they all added to this picture. So my system is really an evolution of all these systems. And, I wrote a book a couple of years ago with my co-author Greg Cleary called Pinnacle, 5 Principles that take your business to the top of the mountain. And what we created there was really an execution system that allows you to build a great business, a well-oiled machine business. And there are 5 principles around which we build this business. It's people, it's purpose, performance, playbooks, and profit. So if you got the right people in the right seat, and you've got the right vision for them, and then they are performing at a high level, and they create their playbook so that their business becomes scalable, and then they make sure that they optimize the profitability, then you're going to have a great business. And the first 45 days is the critical momentum generation phase, where you actually put all those building blocks in place that will allow you to execute, and then to allow you to manifest that process that the 5 principles allow you to do.
I love it. That's awesome. So let's get into it then, because I think everybody wants massive momentum in 45 days. So where do you start with companies along this process? What is step one?
So there are five business growth principles, and the first one is people. So you want to make sure that you got the right, as Jim Collins said, the right people in the right seats, and you have a process to coach these people, to mentor them, so that they are growing and they are focusing on the function that they are running as a mini CEO. I call it a mini CEO concept. So what you want is, you don't want just to give people tasks. You want them to define their area of responsibility and then put them in charge. Let's say you're finance, you own finance, or you are in charge of marketing, you own marketing, and you're the mini CEO of marketing, and you have to make this function as impactful as possible in the business. So that's the first place, is right people in the right seats and define their function and make them the mini CEO of that function, so that they can think strategically about what they need to do.
I love that concept, and it's such a different way of thinking than just creating little task rabbits, right? That just go complete this and then come back and get your next little carrot, and I'll give you another task. I'm curious though, because when you make mini CEOs, I think the first thing that you said is you have to have the right people in the right seats. How do you make sure that whether you need to hire new people or you have the correct talent, how do you make sure you're not creating little egomaniacs that say, "Oh, I own finance. I'm going to own finance, and everyone works under me," like that kind of thing? How do you set up that structure?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. It's a great question, and at different stages in the company, you need different expectations. You have different expectations for your mini CEOs. When I started my first company, which is an investment banking firm, if initially I would have to catch people by lasso, right? It was really hard to even get someone to work for my company, let alone to be able to have the pick of the crop of people. So I had to do whatever I had to do. I had to build from the ground up so that I became a more attractive employer and I could get better people. So at that time, being the mini CEO in my little small business, or 2 or 3 person business, was a much more limited set of functions and roles that person had to own. But when I later grew the company for 15 employees and 15 plus employees, then and we already were one of the market leaders. We were attractive, and I could get people who were much more autonomous and more creative and more had the better judgment. So it is obviously a function of where you are, but you can always optimize your organization at the stage where you are with the people that you can afford to attract. And obviously, initially, as an entrepreneur, you will have to make a lot more decisions than over time. Or maybe over time, you will have to make the same number of decisions, but at a higher level, because you've got a bigger and more complex company.
Yeah, and I mean, a happy side effect of that too is I've seen, because most companies don't do that. Most, especially small businesses, they don't they don't give people authority to make decisions, and they don't give people that autonomy. So you actually end up retaining talent for longer because they actually feel like they're a valued part of the organization. So that's a beautiful part of starting with that mentality for people. So I'm curious. I want to kind of hear phase two, but on the people and for the whole 45 days, do you have timelines that you say like, okay, we're evaluating people days 1 through 5, or is it just kind of do it in this sequence as long as it takes?
So initially, you want to well, first of all, you want to define your culture. So you want to discover your core values, and then you also want to define your organization. So in order to get to the next level, I like to look 6 months ahead. So to get to the next level, what are the functions I need, and what are the outcomes I expect from those functions, and who's the best person in the organization who can take charge of that function. And sometimes the entrepreneur will have to keep 2 or 3 hats initially, right? Because they will not have the right people for all the functions, but at least empower as many functions as you can, and go from there. So that's what you can do initially. You also identify what are the gaps in your organization that you urgently need another person. So as soon as you create the cash flow, you will hire that person. That's going to be number one. Let's say you want someone to own marketing. That's going to be your number one. and your maybe a personal assistant for you as the CEO. It's going to be number 2. I don't know what it is, but you'll have to figure that out. So that's the first phase. And then, after 3 to 6 months, you can reevaluate. Okay, where are we now? Can we now develop a better organization for the next 6 months? And can we empower people more? Or are people that we have to move to another seat, or bring someone in, or replace people? So that's also going to happen, that not everyone is going to be able to grow with you. Because when you want to 5x your business in 5 years, it means that the people who are going to run marketing and operations and finance and sales, they're going to have to 5x their impact in 5 years as well, right? At the leadership level. And not everyone is going to be able to do that. So you will inevitably have to maybe move some people sideways and bring in other people, or groom other people who will have that potential to grow their impact by 5x in 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably spend 15 of these episodes just talking about people and how to develop people the right way in your organization. But I do want to move on to get a sense of what else we need to do in these 45 days. So people is step 1. What is step 2?
So step 2 is vision. So you want to, and we call it purpose. So people purpose. The purpose is really vision, strategy, and alignment. So you're not going to go very deeply into strategy in the first 45 days because that's not really important. That's not a high gain activity at that point. What you want is some vision and alignment. So you want the organization to think about, to do some soul searching. Okay, why are we here? What is it that we stand for? What is the why of our business? What is the big idea that people can emotionally connect to? Give you a couple of examples. One of my clients is plastic surgery in Beverly Hills, and they are very passionate about empowering people so that they can live their best life in terms of they can have the biggest impact possible, and then they can have a fulfilling social life. And some people who are unhappy with their appearance, they are not able to put themselves forward and to go for it. Another client of mine who is coaching doctors, their why is they want to help doctors to reach escape velocity. So a lot of the doctors are, spinning their wheels. They're working hard. They're burning out, working long hours, not able to, to invest, to learn, to maybe turn their practice into a business, to invest in real estate, to reduce their hours so they can spend more time with their family. So that's their why. So what is your why? It's really important, and people get very excited when they discover their why. And then what is the big vision? What is your big, hairy, audacious goal, the summit of your business that you're going to go after? And then how do you break it down? So then you reverse engineer and you set some medium-term goals and annual goals, and then you set quarterly objectives that you can start to execute. So the first 45 days is really about big picture, your why, your summit, long-term goal, and your medium-term, what are the milestones that you're going to help you get there, and then your annual goals, and then your quarterly objectives. That's the first 45 days. And then the third element of this, the 5 principles, and we can cover the first 3 in the first 45 days. So the third element is really starting to execute. And you got your vision, you got your plan, you got your annual goals. So how do we break it down into quarterly objectives so that we eat this elephant one bite at a time? So we create quarterly what I call step rocks. And I call them STEP. STEP is basically an acronym. They are specific, transparent, elevating, and periodic. So you want them to be specific, your SMART goals, obviously. You want to be transparent. You want to share these goals with the organization so that everyone understands what are the priorities for your business. And then you want to make them elevate. So every quarterly objective has to elevate your business, create more capacity for you to deliver. And you want to make them periodic. So you don't just want to have a quarterly objective, but you want to break it up to 4 to 8, I call them rock steps, which you can then check off every week. You accomplish a rock step, and you make sure that by the end of the quarter you execute. So that's the strategic planning you can do. And then the last element of this 45-day momentum is really meetings. And we teach you around 2 meetings that will help you communicate and prioritize much better. And if you get this down, you can do this in the first 45 days. Then you're going to have a plan. You've got your people organized. You're going to have your goals. You're executing. You've got your rock steps. And then you've got your meetings so that you communicate and you prioritize together as you solve problems. And you are creating this execution momentum that if you just then maintain that momentum, then the results are going to be transformational.
Yeah, I'm curious, which of those few steps that you just described typically provide the most clarity for people? And the reason I'm asking that is because I find that most people lack even the vision of the future, and it's they get in some rut of just putting out fires and executing day to day, whatever the calendar says I do kind of thing. I would think it would be vision, but I'm curious from your experience, where do people get the biggest lift out of those first initial 45 days?
So people are not the same. So some people are very vision oriented, and they are emotional, and they're looking for an emotional way to connect to the business, and they will love the vision, and that's gonna really empower them. Other people, they are very detail and execution oriented, and they are not as receptive to vision and to the emotional appeal. They're gonna be they want to avoid the overwhelm, so they want to have clarity of execution, and they're gonna be really excited by defining who is doing what in the organization and giving them clear outcomes that they have to strive for, and they're gonna be excited about that. And other people are very goal oriented, and they want to know that they are getting things done, and they know what are the steps they're going to get goals done, and they're going to be very excited about having a tangible framework for that, so that they can move forward in their area. So it's going to be a mix, and everyone is going to benefit from all 3 of these areas. And the communication, maybe that is the one thing that connects everyone. So nearly all organizations under communicate with each other, even if they have meetings. If the meetings are not organized well, they are not a good vehicle for communication. So just to get the team together, to connect daily for 5-10 minutes for daily stand-up meeting, and weekly to make sure that they are progressing those rocks and they are hitting their numbers, and then they identify and discuss issues is a very powerful discipline.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's why there's coffee mugs that say this meeting could have been an email, right? Because most people are not effectively running their meetings or communicating with their teams. Steve, I love this conversation. This has been fantastic. And we haven't even scratched the surface, I'm sure, with everything you have in your book and your model. Where can the listener learn more about what you have to offer and everything we're talking about here?
Yeah, so my website or our website is stevepreda.com. So Preda spelled Preda. So it's not the fashion brand, it's Preda. So stevepreda.com, and you go there, and you can download my latest book, and you can download summary of other books, and then we have other tools. So the Summit OS system, so we have about a dozen tools that you can download, and you can use the worksheets in your own business, and you can experiment with it. I also have kind of a higher level system, Strategy OS, which is for businesses that already execute well, and they want to differentiate themselves. They want to kind of dig a moat around the business so that no one can copy them. That's Strategy OS, and I've got some tools on that as well that you can download for free, and you can use it in your own business.
I love it. I love it. And I wish more people would think like this to run their businesses, because it just makes more sense. I'm on board. We do similar work, and I'm always shocked by the number of people who just say, we just handle what comes up. And it blows my mind. So hopefully you as a listener can go take advantage of that. StevePreda.com. It's on the screen. It's in the show notes down below. Go check out all of Steve's resources and books. Steve, thank you for being here. And I love to end these episodes with a question, but it's a question from you to the listener. We believe powerful questions get powerful answers. And in the context of this conversation today, we're talking about scaling your business, getting that huge momentum in the first 45 days. But I'm curious, what is that powerful question that you would want the listener to ask themselves, maybe even before they started that journey, so that they set themselves up for ultimate success?
Yeah, I mean, so it's my favorite question. So what is your ideal life? So what does your ideal life look like? Bob Dylan famously said that a person is a success when they get out of bed in the morning and go to bed at night. And they do what in between they do what they love to do. So what is it that you love to do, that you want to jump out of bed in the morning for? Figure that out, and then you can use your business as a vehicle to get you there, because all businesses have an upside. If you figure out how to make money, maybe this business is not very profitable, it's not very organized, maybe your team is not accountable, you can then use a system like Summit OS to organize it and to turn it into the vehicle that will take you to your ideal life. But the first question is, what is it that you want? What does it look like? Is it inside the business? Is it outside the business? It's your life. And actually, there's a tool on my website which is called the Ideal Life Designer. So you can go and you can check it out, and it will give you some options as to what you might consider.
I love it. Mine is sitting on a beach sipping a martini. We'll see if maybe you can help me achieve that. We'll see. No, that's a powerful question. Steve, thank you so much for being here.
It was a pleasure. Thank you, Brandon.
For those of you watching, listening, wherever you are, the resources are in the show notes description down below. And make sure you subscribe. We love putting these episodes out every single day of the week so we can help you grow your business just a little bit. If you get better every single day and you think differently, you ask better questions, you will grow your business. And that's what we're here for. So thanks for listening to Harmonious at Lunch. We'll see you on the next episode.